Right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming back, obviously. I've got our first interview with Jacob Brathwaite. He did a set for us already. Good to see you here.
Likewise, nice to be here. Nice to be here.
Awesome, yeah. I know you're currently suffering with a toothache, so
I am.
We'll try and get some life out of you. But yeah, how was your set for us?
Yeah, I enjoyed it actually. I thought it was really good. I played after Salpa.
Yeah.
So I got to see those guys play, which they're amazing. Check them out, most definitely, if you haven't already. But I really enjoyed the set. The set. I was very hot.
It was a very hot day.
Sure, everyone will see. It was a warm day outside. I think I might have been the only one who sweated so much, but it was okay. It's okay. But no, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, we were all suffering that day. It was like hot big time. Yeah, we will see. There's nothing we can do about sweat on camera.
No, that's all right. No CGI, no.
No
that's
CGI,
okay.
no. Yeah, so, I mean, that set was incredible.
Thank you.
Myself and Dan, obviously, people who've seen on the podcast were just in awe, honestly, of what you did that day. So, Thank you for such an amazing set, to be honest.
Thank you. You.
I know we were briefly obviously talking about the songs that you played. I think your songs have such incredible like emotional depth. So like it's something that I really wanted to ask you. You know, like where a lot of these sorts of this inspiration comes from.
I found with a lot of my older songs, I'd just be playing around on the guitar, and then. I don't know. I think I had a lot more time back then. And like my brain was a lot emptier in a good way, had more space. And I'd just be playing around on the guitar and then words would just come to me. And I won't be trying to write a song. Yeah. But I would just have little phrases and this will keep going and going until I'll be like, oh, I've got a song here.
You got a song.
And it would be totally subconscious, won't be thinking about it, and songs would just keep coming like that. And then I found the songs that I really tried to sit down and write and be like, this week I'm going to write a song. They didn't come as easy.
No, yeah.
But, different kind of very random time songs would come to me. But to answer your question, they come from all sorts of places. Yeah, I was going to say, because I mean, like, if you really listen to your lyrics, they're like really, I mean, they're amazingly crafted songs, obviously, but they do seem to come from a place of quite great understanding emotionally of, I suppose, situations. I suppose that's just my analysis of it. Do you think that's accurate? I think I'd like to think so, because I kind of very much use music as an outlet.
Yeah.
And that's why I find it so frustrating when things aren't really going my way in life and I'm not feeling very musical. Yeah. Because then the way I express and get things out there is through music. Yeah. And so I think that was the case in a lot of the songs that I've written previously. It's just kind of been a bit of, I like to call it heart vomit.
Yeah.
Just literally, it just comes out and then...
That's an album name, that is.
Heart Vomit, yeah.
That's got to be an
copyright.
Album name. Yeah, no. I find that really interesting, actually, because, I know we both got a massively eclectic music taste, and it's interesting to see where artists come from when they're talking about things. There's a lot of artists that I see that write sort of like observational stories and things like that, but I think your music kind of cuts deep to your heart in a sense, and that's where I think it
I feel, and I don't know, it's everyone's their own biggest critic. Yeah, but
definitely.
I find the songs that I am able to enjoy personally myself listening back, because I always find it awkward listening back to my own music, but it's the ones that actually do something for me. Yeah, and were kind of written for a purpose. Yeah, so I can listen to it and I can do that processing through listening to the song almost. But
do you find yourself, I mean, like, obviously when you're playing these songs and things, I mean, I watch when you watch artists, say for instance like Lauryn Hill, where she does the acoustic session and she recaptures every piece of emotion she put into the writing of the song.
That's definitely MTV Unplugged.
Which is just unreal.
Unreal.
Yeah, I and it's really interesting because I sort of when I was listening to you and watching you, I got a lot of that sort of very raw feeling from what you do, and it's a very, very interesting sort of thing, because it's not often you get that with artists. It's amazing that you're able to. I don't even know if you consciously do it. Like, it's not something I think you think about.
I don't think it's not something I consciously do, but it's something I realised because after. So I was playing for a lot longer than I was actually like performing for and doing gigs and stuff. But then after a while, I noticed that I was getting not quite stressed, but feeling a bit drained.
Okay.
And I realised that would come after flows of doing like quite a lot of shows in quick concession. And then I'd realised that it was because, not meaning to, but I was kind of pouring a lot out when I was singing. And not even thinking about it. And then I'd do like 2 shows one day and then like a break and then a couple gigs the next day or something. And by the end of the week, I'd just be like a vessel. And so I don't actually mean to do it, but I find it hard to sing and not like put myself in the zone. And so
that's the thing. I think people will see that, really, because I think it's interesting. I know we've as the editors and staff for AudioStage, we've had the opportunity to see your video, and we sat and watched you do it live. And every time I come back to it, I just get a constant feeling like that what you're talking about and what you're saying about how how it's so almost you're saying that it's draining, but you're putting so much of yourself into it that it does feel like it's taking a lot of your energy, emotional energy, and like I suppose everything for you is into the song, whether you think about it or not.
And I'd just like to say, when I said draining, it wasn't. It's normally has a bit of a negative connotation to it. But I didn't mean draining in that aspect. It's just kind of that it's coming out of me and leaving my mouth. And so in that sense, just literal draining. But
definitely. But that's the thing. It doesn't. It's interesting because I don't think your music has negative connotations at all to it. It's actually, the more I talk to you about your music, it seems like such a massively positive thing. And obviously as a creative, you use your music for an outlet of all sorts of things. You see, people all over from massive celebrities to guys who go to acoustic nights, people managing different things. And I think it's interesting that like your music, in a sense, is like making you manage different situations within life.
Most definitely.
Like,
most definitely.
It's quite. It seems like a very, very strong bond. And
I'm grateful. I'm grateful to that bond. Like I said to you earlier, I play piano, and I would say I'm more comfortable with the piano than I am with the guitar. Because I find that a piano, the instrument itself, it's logical. Like you go up the scale and you go that way, you go down, you go that way.
Definitely.
And to express myself on it, I just find it a lot easier, a lot simpler, and I have to think about it a lot less. And so I can sit down on the piano for hours and just, if I'm in the right zone, I can just go. And so I'm very grateful that I have that as an outlet, because I don't really have much else.
No, absolutely,
moment, so.
Well, it's interesting because we actually did a podcast recently on we were talking about youth in music, and we were talking about sort of like outlets for music. And I always think to myself, I'm like, myself personally, I think I would have gone on a much different path if I hadn't have had music. And I think that it's interesting. The more musicians I talk to, it seems like that's very prevalent within their lives as well. Everyone's sort of saying the same thing. It's like music,
because it's time consuming, and it's mind consuming, and it's life consuming. If you're about music, then there's, just by default, I feel there's certain, I don't know, because at the same time there's not. You get all kinds of different characters within music, but there's a certain kind of joint. I don't even know what I'm trying to say. I feel like you understand what I'm trying to say.
I understand what you're trying to say. I 100% get what you're trying to say. I think like, I get it. I do get it, what you're trying to say, what you're getting at. I think it's sort
there's
of like
a link with musicians that we all kind of share the same experience, though they may be different experiences. Music has done something great for us. And so with
it's that unifying factor in a way.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I think it's really fascinating. I think you're very in tune with that sort of thing. It's really impressive to see, like, you know. But yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, some of the tracks you're doing, I was one of my particular, is it Bruises, the first track you did?
Bruises.
That never leaves my head, honestly. Like, that song, it's like an earworm. It just sits there forever and it's just in there, man. Honestly, yeah. But people will obviously listen to these tracks, and you know they'll have their opinions, and probably you'll get hate mail going, why is your song always in my head? Like, yeah. But it's
sick
amazing.
Of your rubbish.
Yeah, no, but it's amazing because I don't, like, we were just talking about, you know, the genre that you sort of identify by, but we couldn't sort of find that in a way, like, which I find really interesting. Like, you almost have, I suppose, a lot of music, when we consider it pop structure, like verse chorus, verse chorus, you know, that's I suppose the atypical pop structure. You know, your music does sometimes fall into that, but it doesn't ever feel like a pop song. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, yeah, and it's. I mean, how would you define your music, in a sense?
I've been asked this before, and I've never really had a good answer for it. Because I feel because my songs come from a lot of different places as well, so sometimes they may have a slightly different feel to them, but I guess they're all on a guitar. Yeah. So you could say singer-songwriter, acoustic, but that feels very vague. It feels very. So I don't really know, but.
And I don't feel like it encompasses what you do truly. Like, I think, you know, when you consider, I mean, obviously, you know, I was actually watching a lot of, like, Lauryn Hill. You know, that I know we're obviously talking about this acoustic Lauryn Hill, but, like, I really feel like the way that she encapsulates her music is the way that you sort of do it. It's like the way that you seem to have this real sort of understanding of what you're doing musically. It feels a lot like her, and I suppose
that's a big compliment.
No, but honestly, like, people will see it, and I have no doubt people will agree with that. Like, honestly, I really, I'm putting you up there, man. I'm putting you on that pedestal. Like,
don't raise the roof too high. People watch it; they'll be very disappointed. They'll be like,
honestly, like, yeah. I know it's always best to sort of under promise and over deliver.
Under promise, set the marker down there, and then
over deliver. Definitely. Yeah. But no, really, I was blown away by what you did, and you know, every time I watch it, I get that same feeling, you know, which is incredible. So, obviously, what you're doing now musically, what sort of things are you doing at the moment?
Well, I mean, I always try and find, like, especially these days, I have a bit more time on my hands now, so I'm playing around with the guitar, but I'm finding that things aren't going as smoothly as they normally would with music. In the terms of trying to write things and create things, like the creative juices. They fluctuate a lot. They're up and they're down. But as we were saying earlier, what's been helping is collaborating with people. Yeah. And so, for instance, one of my close friends, he produces a lot and makes a lot of tracks. Okay. Yeah. And so he'll have that foundation set, and then I'll come and I'll just think about the lyric side of things. Yeah. Yeah. And that has helped. It's made me kind of be able to deal with and digest and see music differently, rather than having to go through the same kind of way I write a song and it's just me and I have to do, I don't know, it's been good. It's been good. Yeah. And then, a few gigs here and there. Yeah. But it's, I don't know, it's always been something, it's always been a means of expression. And so people have asked me, like, would you like to do music as a career, or like, where would you like to take it? And I've never had a set answer, but I know I don't want to do it to the point where it becomes a chore. Yeah, absolutely. And it may never be that way, but I don't know. That's what kind of steers me away to not try and go at it too hard. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, and just kind of keep that love there and untarnished. Yeah. So that's interesting, actually, because you're not the only person, I suppose, that I've met that said something like that. But do you think that I suppose being famous or having, everyone says, I'll make it through music.
You know, do you think that sort of would, I suppose, stamp on your creativity? Do you think it would limit your creativity and what you do?
I think it has a lot. It has a lot of potential to, but not necessarily. I think that kind of comes with character building.
Yeah.
I think in my current state of situations, I think it would, because I'd feel the pressure and I'd feel like there's a certain expectancy of me to produce these things. When at the moment I know that I'm not in that position to.
Yeah.
But I think maybe at a different point in time where I've got my own craft down to a T, and like I've got bits a bit more worked out, maybe I wouldn't feel the pressure so much and wouldn't feel the stress, and I could enjoy music and things will be flowing again. But that's one of the reasons why, just because I feel like there'll be a bit of a demand.
Yeah. I think that's the nature of the industry, isn't it?
Yeah, and I know that I'm not always in the position to produce.
Yeah, meet the demand.
Meet the demand.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
That's it's interesting that you've almost thought about it in that sense, like, because there's a lot of people who don't. I think there's a lot of people, especially young musicians. I know I consider you a young musician. But yeah,
I'm 22. I'm young.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Got loads of time. But yeah, there's young musicians who actually really think about the impact that the industry would have on them, which is actually, it's interesting that you've actually thought about that, because there's many people out there that go, I don't care what sacrifice I have to make to get to that point and to make money from music and make it a career. And it's interesting that you've thought about it and gone, I don't think I'm ready right now, like in my current state, which is, it comes back to that sort of, like, I suppose, emotional maturity, and I think that comes through in your music. It comes through in it, like the things that you do and the way that you're actually speaking about your music. It's like, when you say, I'd get my craft down to a T, like, honestly, when people watch the video, people are going to be like, shut up, like, anyway, they're going to be like, this guy's got it down to a T, this guy knows what he's doing.
Not at all.
But, like,
had a few bum notes in there I can remember, I'm sure.
No, man, honestly, it was unreal. But yeah, these, it's interesting that you see it that way, and you see like that, there's that potential to grow and develop, and, I think it's that always, that humility and being humble is like is something that I think is always going to work in your favour in a sense. It's that that famous Jimi Hendrix thing. He sat down with Dick Cavett and they had a conversation, and he said, he went, so when did you learn to play the guitar? And he went, I'm still learning.
Oh, yeah.
It's like,
and you'll always be learning.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you'd always be developing, and always, was considered the greatest guitarist in the world, but he was still learning. It's interesting that you see it that way, and that's really fascinating, actually, as an onlooker. Because I would literally, if I was the head of Universal, I'd be sitting there with a big cigar. Listen, Jacob.
Feet on the desk.
Yeah, I love what you do. Let's talk a contract.
Gonna be huge.
You're gonna be huge, boy. Your name's gonna be in lights. That's what we'd be talking about. But it's interesting that's not the that's, I suppose, not on your mind right now.
Well, I think it's there because partially, not so much it's not like a fear of failure, but I don't like to disappoint. I don't like to disappoint, so I wouldn't want to put myself in that position to have people looking for me, like, I don't know. I feel like giving myself that spotlight and that platform would be the wrong decision right now, because I feel like I would disappoint. Yeah. So yeah.
Sorry, I'm like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? He's got a bat. No, honestly, yeah. That's really, honestly, incredible. Like, it's incredible to see how you see yourself. Which is, I have no doubt totally different that the rest of the world is going to see you. Not everyone's going to love your music, but I'm talking like there are people out there like myself, like Dan, you know, who are the biggest advocates of what you do. You know, and really we want to see where you go, and that's, I suppose, leads me to the next point. I suppose I don't want to see, you know, what's the future? What do you want? You know, I suppose immediate future and long term.
I think immediate future, I think I'd like to run with this idea. I'd like to create a little EP, almost a little album of not. So I think a lot of songs these days are between 3 and 4 minutes long.
Yeah. A
lot of the songs that I've been writing and that I've been singing to myself are between 30 seconds and a minute and a half long.
Okay.
So a lot shorter, but I don't want to do nothing with them, and I feel like maybe some of them can help other people like they've helped me.
Yeah.
And so I'd like to get that finished and then hopefully get that produced and released, which would be really cool. But I just like to keep on making music, to be honest. Keep making music, keep it under my belt to always come back to. Because, I don't think I'd ever stop doing music just for the... I love music, I love performing, I love singing, I love watching other people sing and perform. It's a nice little insight into other people's brains that you wouldn't otherwise see.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
But yeah, other than that, no real musical goals. Just keep riding the wave, keep doing what I'm doing.
I love, honestly, I love that. It's, you know, we've sat and had conversations with people. You know, the last 6 artists on the on the first series, and it's been interesting to see where everyone wanted to go with it. You know, everyone's plans and things, and actually, it's fascinating to see that. You know, I think you have all the musical talent in the world.
Thank you.
Like, honestly, that it's interesting that you've sat and gone, well, actually, I just want to keep doing music, and it feels very pure. It feels like there's a man, we need more people like you. Honestly, we need less of this Instagram stuff, trying to get famous, and honestly, like, it's real music, and it's great music.
Thank you very much.
So yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing what you do in future. You know, I really want to hear these songs. You know, obviously,
I'm looking forward to hearing and seeing this session, and for other people as well. Like the previous people that have been with AudioStage, been performing. It's all been great. It's been great feedback. So I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, we can't wait to get you out there and just see what people think and see what people say. Yeah, that's not too terrifying. But but I've really enjoyed talking to you today. It's given I think everyone a great insight into how you view music, and hopefully people will watch this and go and watch your session and really connect with what you're doing and understand where you come from. So yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure having you, Jacob. And
thank you very much.
Yeah, if you go and follow Jacob, you have Facebook?
Just Jacob Brathwaite Music, or on Bandcamp or SoundCloud, just Jacob Brathwaite again.
Yeah, and on your Bandcamp and SoundCloud, you've got an EP on there, haven't you?
I've got an EP called Soundy Poundy, if you want to give that a check out. Which is great. Amazing. Yeah. It's okay. Right. It's okay. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well, it's been an absolute pleasure, and we'll see how it goes in future, and we'll hopefully have you back. Sweet. I would look forward to be back. Yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much. Cheers. Cheers.